What's happening, sports fans? Or as Obi-Wan Kenobi says, hello there. Sorry, watched a lot of TikToks in the last couple of days. We've got a new person in studio, Jonathan Rifkind. Say what's good.
What's going on, guys?
No, I said say what's good.
Oh, what's good, guys?
Hey, say what.
What is good?
He'll get the show eventually.
Look,
you're the polished broadcaster of all this, and so that's why we told you we're going to bring you down into the muck and the filth. He is the latest member to join the pirate ship of sort of enterprising content that we're doing here at Prep Insider. You have heard him a ton this year doing great play-by-play. He is now here with us in studio because we are all vaccinated, like I said, so we have some freedom and ability to do cooler, new stuff, and part of that is him giving us a little bit of a lowdown on where he's going to be and previewing some of the games of the week because it is playoff time. And if there is anything that we love more than home runs, it's playoffs. So, Rifkind, you've got soccer this week. The guys and girls brackets are all up on our social media at SD Prep Insider on Twitter, on Instagram. You can also find them all at the CIF San Diego section website, cifsds.org. You're going to be going to as many games as is humanly possible, maybe even more than humanly possible. But what do you got on tap this week?
Yeah, so let's start with our Wednesday evening matchup. So remember, the boys are on Tuesdays, the girls are on Wednesdays in the opening rounds. And there's a really, really good open division matchup for the boys' championships on Wednesday. San Pasqual is hosting University City, and a lot of people don't realize this, but the Falcons play in the Palomar League in soccer, and they won, and they're really, really good. They're dynamic, they're quick, they play with pace, but they also know how to slow down and play for possession. And when you can do that in the postseason and control tempo for the entirety of a soccer game, more likely than not, you're probably going to win. But UC is interesting because if you look at their schedule, they loaded up their strength of schedule over the spring COVID season. And I think this makes for a very fascinating matchup with a city team in UC versus San Pasqual, and also a team that a lot of people don't realize, or a school that a lot of people don't realize is a dominant boys soccer team up in Escondido. So I'm excited for this one. I think it'll be a perfect way to kick off the soccer postseason, and that will be at 7 o'clock on Wednesday evening.
That's perfect because I was about to pitch that it being 5 p.m. on Wednesday evening per my reading of the open division brackets. But hey, that's why he is the professional and I am just the circus clown that plays traffic cop in all of this. Can I correct you on one thing?
Absolutely.
It is an A in Palomar. You described it as Palomar.
Oh, thank you for I flipped him, huh?
Yeah, it's all good. He's from Boston. That's the story we'll go with. He's got that back east thing. I do always think it's interesting when you see some schools that are in the new division system, D3 or 4 or 5 in one thing, open division in another, and San Pasqual is both of that right now for soccer, and UC is both of that for soccer. They are both schools that are in the lower divisions in some sports, and then to see them both with an open division championship possibility, you're like, hey, that's kind of dope. Game number 2 that you got is a girls' game later in the week. Is that correct?
Correct.
Where are you headed?
Friday, 5 o'clock, out to Santee, West Hills. The girls' team in a Division I matchup will host the winner of Canyon Crest Academy and Grossmont. That will be...
So CCA Grossmont is a play-in game, correct?
Well, so technically it's the opening round because there are multiple opening rounds, but it is
so wait, does West Hills have the bye?
They have the bye.
All right.
Correct.
So, I think that's a big distinction, not an interesting distinction. It's a big distinction. If you have a seed or if you have to play in for the seed.
I have a question. Is the play-in tournament in the NBA an expansion?
High school sports show. Not going to go into those
fine.
semantics,
It's just
but
the
yes,
same idea.
Yes. Okay, so
West Hills
CCA versus who again? Versus Grossmont is going to winner of that will move on to play West Hills.
I would anticipate CCA. Nothing against Grossmont. It's tough out there, man.
And that's saying something considering that you have been literally the good luck charm for Grossmont High School this year.
And I don't know about soccer. For baseball, I can speak to that. They're the 11th seed. They're under 500. Their defense has been tough. They've tied a lot of teams, and they've had late comebacks. They have the talent to beat CCA, but CCA was more consistent this season, and I think that speaks volumes riding momentum from the regular season into the postseason. So I do expect to see West Hills versus CCA, but I wouldn't be surprised if Grossmont squeaks by in that opening round matchup, and we get a really good... these two teams played over the regular season twice. West Hills won both times. How great would that be if Grossmont somehow squeaks past CCA and then beats their rival in West Hills to move on in the boys soccer Division 1 bracket.
This will be your first trip to West Hills campus, correct?
Correct.
So this will be your first chance to see the blue turf in person, correct?
Yes, very excited.
You are actually excited for the blue turf.
People don't like colored fields. I love colored fields, man. Eastern Washington, Boise State, West Hills.
I'll be curious to get your report on that.
Okay.
All I'll say is that West Hills has some of the most beautiful sunsets of all of the stadiums. That game Friday night, 7 p.m. or 5 p.m.?
5 p.m.
So Wednesday night, 7 p.m., you can catch the boys open division game on our YouTube, courtesy of Jonathan Rifkind bringing you the play-by-play. Friday night, 5 p.m., you can catch the girls Division 1 game, courtesy of our Jonathan Rifkind. You can follow him on Twitter at Jonathan Rifkind, RIFKIND. Anything else on the closing note for this week ahead of us in games?
Yeah, tune in. It's going to be fun. A lot of good content here on the Prep Insider. This is just the start. We got a lot more coming up, so make sure you stay tuned to our updates.
Yeah, and I encourage you to actually hit him up on Twitter because our schedules are very rarely set. I know that we are officially partners with CIF, and there have been some of you in the Twitter mentions being like, ooh, about the content. Look for these to be shills. We don't even get emails responded to us from CIF. So there is very little of this that is like required to be at games. So if you want him to come to your game, there is no real anything stopping him from being at a D5 matchup. Or if you think someone's the underdog of all underdogs, the Cinderella story that deserves some love, hit him up and he will be there. I will not because I don't care about any of you enough to leave my house anymore. I'm just kidding. I love all of you guys, but I'm waiting for baseball and water polo playoffs. Jonathan? We will hear you and see you Wednesday night. Thank you very much for stopping by, and get used to him. This is going to be a permanent thing, seeing him come in for the preview show. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in, and go check him out at a game.